Baseball in the Boroughs is brought to you by Verizon. With my plan, get exactly what you want and only pay for what you need. Ooh, the Mets handled business in Queens Monday night in an 11-2 thrashing against the Cubs. Well, my guy Anthony Rivera is the host of the Subway to Shea podcast, and he's on the line for today's Baseball in the Boroughs. Anthony, thanks for joining us. Since you got the Don't Worry, Be Happy tie-dye themed shirt going, let's start off on a positive note when it comes to these Mets. My guy, Polar Bear Pete, made the Cubs look like the bad news Bears Monday nights. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He has been on a roll lately. So how big is it that Pete's bat is back consistently, and who else needs to get hot?
Well, yeah, he's one of the most important bats to this team. He's kind of the power that the Mets always need in that lineup. It's nice to see him get going. You know, over the last couple of times, he's had a couple of 2-run homer games, and it's good to see him get back on track. You're seeing a little bit of Francisco Lindor. He's another important part of that offense that needs to get himself back on track, and he's been doing that as well. Someone that really needs to get going is Brandon Nimmo. He's batting 174 over the last 30 games. The power numbers are up, but what we really need to see from him is he's got to work the walks. He's got to work the count, and he's striking out a whole lot. He's got 27 strikeouts in the last 30 days, and that's something that needs to get lower if the Mets need to continue to play well and have that offense play well. So he's one guy that I'm definitely looking to see, step it up.
All right. Other reports, the Mets optioned Brett Baty to AAA Syracuse on Monday. Mark Vientos has had some time at third base, but he DH'd on Monday. You think he's the long-term fix at third base with Baty struggling, or do you think he's primarily just going to be used at DH?
I think he'll get a couple of games here and there at third base, but he's primarily going to be a DH. He really doesn't have a position unless you want him backing up Pete Alonso at first. But his defense is not as good either, just like Brett Baty, and they sent Brett Baty down to work on that. But, yeah, Mark Vientos, he's definitely going to be more DHing probably than he would be playing third base. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if we see him every now and then play third base.
This team needs bats, definitely. So him being at that DH spot could end up being a great thing. I mean, they're only 7.5 games out of the wild card spot. I ask this every time, and I get a lot of flack for it online. Can the Mets rally and sneak into the postseason?
I just don't think so. I mean, you have Rafael Ortega in the lineup. You have Jonathan Ruiz in the lineup. Even DJ Stewart playing every day. And that's just not a lineup that's going to, get you wins. Maybe there might be a chance. There's always a chance, right? Anything is possible. Anything can happen in baseball. But I just don't see it. They couldn't do well with, Verlander and Max Scherzer on the team. And when they had Tommy Pham and Canna, those guys are way better than, the players that they have now that they brought up. But, yeah, I just don't see it happening. I would love for it to happen. I'm definitely not one that doesn't want to see them not make the playoffs, but I really don't see it happening right now. The pitching, too. If Carlos Carrasco is going to pitch the way he's been pitching, they're definitely not going to have a shot here. We see how well that Kodai Senga has taken to that role as the starter, and, if Cookie Carrasco can't come through, I don't see them doing anything and making it close to the playoffs at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that'll agree with you, and I had to bust out my sports almanac just because the 1969 Miracle Mets were 10 games out in mid-August, and they ended up world champions. So I'm holding on to that feeling of maybe they can turn it around and come back and win this thing. But Anthony, thanks for joining us for this edition of Baseball in the Boroughs.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Brandon.